Okay, so there's a user in the Iron Monks Discord named Evan Wheel. It's a new user, and they'd come up with a couple of cool puzzles. And one of the designs they used I thought was kind of interesting, so I threw together a tutorial to share how this is done so that other people can do it. Basically, it simulates that you have a large rotating drum of numbers, letters, symbols, whatever they are. Rotate it either way. Now, in their puzzle, they had several of these to, do like a combination lock kind of thing, but each one is exactly the same. So I just wanted to show you the basic functionality of how you do this. Now, first off, what you're taking advantage of is an optical illusion. This looks like it's round and it's rotating. In actuality, what we have, zoom out here a bit, is just one big tile that is scrolling. And it uses a module from Ripper called Tile Scroll. It's available. Just go to your setup, add modules, and type in the name. It's free. And what we do is, in Appearance, we enable scrolling, and the direction is 90 degrees so that it scrolls up and down, not side to side. And you start out down here with an offset of 0. And then what we're doing here is just covering up. And I'm using a stretched out tile that looks terrible, but it's just for demonstration purposes. Then we have this metal frame, and I just did a Google search for a metal frame, cut it out and threw it in here. And then this other one is a gradient. And what I did is in my Paint program, I use paint.net, which is free for Windows, is you use the gradient tool and you go from black with full alpha to black with no alpha. And this gives the illusion that it is curved. That's all you do for that part of the setup. And then for the actual code inside the tile, we have, for our triggers, click and right click. So you're going to have it go in both directions. Then for both of them, they're exactly the same except for one small change. So you can basically just copy and paste. So the first thing we do is continue if triggered equals 1 times, which is the one time where you just clicked on it. This is to prevent someone from spamming clicks and messing up the tile. Then we play the sound file for the sound of stone grinding on stone, which is, for this particular example, is a built-in sound file for the stone door opening. So you go to your core data, sounds, doors, stone, and then open. We restrict the sound to the scene. We get rid of any fade. Then we come down to our loop. And we have 2 loops, one for the left click and one for the right click. We alter the tile. And as I covered in a previous video, you can interact with any module that has to do with tiles or tokens without Monks Active Tiles having any native ability to interact with that module, simply by interacting with its flags. If it deals with tiles, it will add flags to your tiles. If it deals with tokens, it'll add flags to your tokens. So you just go to flags and then the name of the module, which is tile scroll, and then specifically the setting we want to mess with, which is offset Y. And it was just plus space 0.01. So we're going a tenth of a rotation. And the reason for this is we want it animated. We want it to move as opposed to teleporting. So a tenth of a rotation would be 1 number tile, because there's 10 number tiles total in the entire thing. So a tenth of a rotation will go 1 number. A tenth of a tenth, or 1/100th, goes a tenth of one of those number tiles. And then we loop that 10 times. We put a delay in of 0.15 seconds. The reason for this length of the delay is just to match the length of the sound file. If your sound file is a different length, or if you're not using a sound file, then you can just tune this number to whatever you find works best for the speed of your animation. If you want your animation to go really slowly, then you could do like 1/20th of, well, it'd be 1/20th of 1/10 of rotation, and then loop 20 times with a shorter delay. So you get a smoother animation. And then you loop, and then after the loop, and the type of loop does resume afterwards. So it'll drop down to this last line here, which resets the trigger history, allowing the tile to be triggered again after it completes. And then for the right click, you're doing the same thing, except it's right loop instead of left loop. And instead of adding 0.01, you're subtracting 0.01. Always remember there's a space after the operand, after the minus or the plus. And that's all there is to it. And the end result is a pretty convincing rotating drum of numbers or symbols or letters or whatever it is you're using. So again, thanks to Ebon Wheel for coming up with this solution. As I said, I thought this was a really interesting way that they had managed to do this, and it's not too complicated to do, so should be easy for other people to be able to adopt into their stuff. And I think that covers everything. Hopefully you guys found this helpful or interesting. Check my links in the description for my modules and such, and have a good one.